Quiet future. The next day with the Ark heart. Gear wakes up feeling a tickle. The sun was up well past midday. He let the light slowly trickle into his eyes. Something cold and wet touched his cheek. He felt a trickle of warm liquid like beads of sweat hit his forehead and slowly dripped down. Snuff! Snuff! At this Gear let out a scream as he tried to slip out of his warm buffalo skin blanket, fearing that thing the drip of drool dropped from. He tried to spin away, but on his other side something soft and wet swiped his chin in a long, slow lick. "Ah!" he cried. Untangled, he jumped to his feet, looking right and left in wild, wide arcs. Then his eyes looked down to meet, yip, yip, two ragged, puny mutts from near the level of Gear's feet, looked up with stupid grins, their butts and curled tails swinging back and forth. John had been chewing on chestnuts when the dogs launched a sneak attack on John's after-prayer snack. He found it quite amusing that his snack was being stolen by these round-faced, mangy thieves. A funny thought formed in his head, still as yet bound in possibility, still caught in the thick neuronal matrix of his brain. At the thought, he's fraught with giddy laughter. He'll affix some chestnut crumbs in Gear's beard as he sleeps. He just hopes it sticks. And it does! John watches the weird life forms trounce over to Gear's cheek, proceed to lick till his beard's cleared of chestnut, whereupon a shriek issued forth from a deep recess of his brain, unable to speak. The dogs, who are a tangled mess, look up as Gear, too in confusion, looks down. "Okay, John, I confess you got me. Where'd this profusion of mischief come from?" "I don't know. I think it was just a fusion of mischievous mutts and nuts. Though, to be fair, you have been asleep for long enough for stubble to grow into a beard, and now the creep into night's begun." "Wait, you mean it's not dawn? How long did I sleep? Is it really dusk? I mean, it's a mean trick if not." John, not pointing east, says the sun rises there. Not seen there by Gear. Gear concedes. "Let's feast. I'm famished," yawns Gear. "And don't say the coffee's gone. You'll be deceased." "I'll brew some. We have a long day, or night, because we slept so late. I'll tell you, I think this delay ain't bad. We overestimate travel by day. Night is alight with stars and spooks. We'll navigate by constellation and moonlight. Sleep while the sun's out and the air is warm. I'd hate to have frostbite first thing in the morning. And bear are nocturnal sorts. Cats are too. Either of them could come and tear our stomachs out." "Okay, Gear. Phew. Must it be so graphic?" "Coffee is brewed. But I warn you, this brew is so black that even Renfrey, the Mad King, could not distinguish it from his soul," warned John. "Let's see. Black hole brew, paw cake. My wish for breakfast has been met." "I thank you, good friend." "Now let's establish this food as a gift from God. Thank you, Lord. This day, us, you provide with sustenance. Thy endless bank of goodness you chose not to hide from us this day. Let us, thy will, complete today," prayed John. "Well, I'd include let not beast or man spill our blood this night," adds Gear. "I'm sure Em would have prayed that such an ill not befall us. Let no allure distract us," finished Gear, clutching Em's cross in his pocket. A blur of nights followed. They were touching the stars at night. Songs from Codex Guadalupe were now clutching John's heart. A short book, the Codex was based on another pilgrim guide, the Calixtinus Codex, Road to Compostela, for him, Primus ex Apostolis, Spain's apostle, St. James. The pilgrim road to Guadalupe, once Spain's territory, became a path for pilgrim feet during the pains of modern life. This holy path survived the collapse. The Red King and Bishop Dunglac up the path in Mag City were preparing for this pilgrimage. With the aid supplied by their ocean-faring guests, their walk would not be delayed. Advent led to the Mass of Christ, and Mag City, full of waylaid refugees, found they were sufficed to have survived, though many died. Their guests brought them the love of Christ, with the spirit gifts they supplied, kind and gentle, humble and meek. They shared food and drink. Christ helped guide them through these dark days, when the weak and suffering were so beside themselves, a word they could not speak. Acrobats and juggling helped hide anguish for a time. Foreign goods, so long absent from inside these city walls, relieved fear in hearts far removed from a stranger's kindness. Strangers round here sold sin and vice. Ever-present dangers of kidnappings, murderous raids, and enslavement were what rangers of trails and city policed. Trades of necessities had to flow, and rangers fought off many raids. Yes, these Muslim guests brought a glow to after-battle atmosphere. The iron bell was struck a blow. Christmas Eve morning was now here, a warmth beneath the cold starlight, with frosty breath and stinging ear. Hot cider and mead filled the bright, moonlit, pre-dawn air. Morning noise ascended as day grew from night. Snow was falling. Excited boys and girls ran about like the wild creatures they still were. Some had toys they shared, a sign some of their wild nature could become civilized. Elsewhere, fire logs were split and piled to warm hearths of demoralized refugees, now all too aware of Christ's sufferings. Aggrandized trees and ornament, music fair and moderate, set the tone for anticipation on the square, the city center. The great door of the cathedral, the one so named for Our Lady of Dolor, remained closed until tomorrow, when wide they'd open, shut no more, so all could come and see the glow of Christ there seated on the floor of the manger so like a cave, the humble Christ child we adore. His life God brought, his life he gave. Christmas on the Lonely Trail. Down the 66, John and Gear woke to the dark of night. They gave themselves to nighttime travel. Fear of beasts waxed and waned, mostly waxed with every growl they'd come to hear. Walking in the cold, dark night taxed their bodies. They took a midnight break. Gear found some dry wood and axed it as John was putting up a fight gathering tinder. Soon the eve of Christ's Mass would lead to the light of Christmas Day. Gear tried to heave a particularly large log towards their rest stop. This reprieve was too much work. He kicked the log down an embankment. John had flame already licking. They'd warm grog this cold, star-filled night. It would tame their cold and hunger for a spell. There was a scarcity of game on this trace. Renfrey's band of hell decimated this length of trail. They had little food left to quell their hunger and power their male bodies. They kept vigil beneath dark skies and leafless trees. They could fail this mission. It was not so stark and grave a matter anymore. How'd they even come to embark on this walk? They heard a loud roar afar off. It was no danger to them. No beast would come and gore them tonight. They felt as stranger on this route, so they sat and prayed, Gear his force chain. To the stranger no more, puer natus, John prayed. Their small fire was soon extinguished. Their cold, lonesome walk was delayed long enough. Tonight they anguished, thinking of Em. They walked alone till waking thoughts were relinquished. on gravity tracks. Euclid, Euclid, you are a stone, skipping through space, away from home. You're no stranger to the unknown. This is your home away from home. Ganymede and Jupiter fade, the last you'll see of your old home. Impassioned efforts are what bade your hands to reach out for the stars. Those tyrants tempted you to trade your dreams of Earth, your dreams of Mars. You bore it all with fortitude, your heart and skin prove it with scars. You doubted not your aptitude, you read and you learned, you kept strong, fighting to keep good attitude. You learned what's right, you learned what's wrong. Enjoy this gift of outer space. Enjoy the ride, let it be long. It is for your leisure, not a race. Stars and planets beckon you now, they're a reflection of your face. You are the one who found out how the flames of space to reignite. The tracks of gravity allow you alone, Euclid, to take flight, where for centuries none could tread, where time is neither day or night, where inexorably you're led. On earth now there are dawn and dusk, there are the quick and the dead, their shaking hands and bloody tusk. This position of earth in space brings for mankind the Christmas dusk. From Mary's womb the human race is added to by virgin birth. Ave Maria, full of grace, from thy womb comes Christmas mirth. Benedictus fructus Jesus, a gift to man of priceless worth. Sanctus non peccatoribus, in your depths we enter deep. Ad civitatis Dominus, let us there, take us there after this our sleep. Lady of ransom, intercede, thy son can save us from the creep. Lady of good help, intercede, thy son can save us from the flame. Our Lady of Lords, intercede, thy son can heal us, we are lame. Thank you, Mary, thy fiat gift, thy baby boy of blessed name. Emmanuel is who can lift lost and wretched souls from the pit. Demons and spirits he will sift, the holy from the decrepit, the ones who walk the 66, saints and sinners and those with grit, vice mules running with someone's fix, a pilgrimage of royalty. King and bishop walk without sticks, with sandals and simple robe, free of extravagance, with their foreign companions from across the sea, to young men who are growing thin, bearing the burden of the heart, rescued from the oblivion of Michigan's ice-cold rampart, separating water and air. A brown robe. Of my cargo, how have you heard? Asked the man with a probing stare. My king knows all. Let it concern you much. For I do say beware. This wicked way you choose to earn your gold makes for a debauched life. I see it in your eyes and stern demeanor. Settle, find a wife. Turn your back on this evil way. You're full of anger, full of strife. The man spit in his face. Go play good boy someplace else before I kill you and keep your gold and lay your corpse out for maggot and fly. The sandaled man with robe of brown offered forth his purse of gold. Why you want this cargo? From what town you come? Asked the seller. The gold purse was extended. He looked down as he reached forth to snatch the old dirty purse from the beggar's hand. Just visible beneath a fold of the beggar's robe, on his tanned hand, was a raw wound near his wrist. The seller pulled back as he scanned the beggar, balling up a fist, his face screwed up with repugnance at the wound, stepping back with a twist. Go retreat to your provenance, brown robe. Pour out the gold and take the cargo. The calm countenance of the brown robe did not forsake him. He simply bowed his head and emptied the purse. Make no mistake, brown robe. Come here again. That hand of yours, both of them, and your feet are coming off. You'll never stand again, holy man. Then I'll eat your flesh and see how powerful you are then. Take your leave and beat the trail before I split your skull. Release my precious cargo, please. The seller, angry as a bull caged, pushed the brown robe to his knees. His wounded hands, throbbing with pain, reminded him that on his knees is where he was strongest. Insane you are, brown robe. You don't know how to use this stuff to any gain. Now get up while I still allow you. Take your cargo and your weak god wounds. Francesco, a slight bow signaling his leave, did not speak, letting the spirit speak instead. Pax et bonum. He left the bleak village of enslaved souls still wed to their bodies. Against his chest he held his wounds tight as he tread across the scrubland, headed west with 12 purchased souls he now owned, according to customs the rest of this territory condoned. He was entrusted with this fund, purchase with gold what can't be owned. Like his wounds, there was no refund for this precious purchase. Payment was final. They were always stunned to see the man in poor raiment bid for them, win, and then proceed to free them of their enslavement. The slavers caught wise of his deed of goodwill to buy and then free the slaved. They did not want his seed to grow and eventually mushroom into an uprising. They'd kill him, but he was holy. Such verboten jeopardizing of their lucrative enterprise would lead to the compromising of their trade. Muertans despise weakness and stupidity in sellers who allow threats to rise. King Renfrey committed the sin of acting greater than his king, Muerto Seis. What did that win him? Defeat by bishop and king. Word traveled faster than you'd think. They had to follow Sin King, Muerto Seis, or else they'd sink just like Renfrey, whose kingdom fell. This holy monk, a living link between heaven and earth, was hell for these slavers, reflecting light from where humans and Satan fell. The link is Christ, whose wounds a sight to save, or for reproach.